What if the government could regulate wheat you grow, just to feed your own animals? This case changed the power of the federal government forever. It expanded Congress's reach into everyday economic life. Even today, this decision shapes laws about business, agriculture, and civil rights. It all comes down to one big idea: small actions can add up. Meet Roscoe Filburn, a small farmer in Ohio. He grew wheat, raised chickens, and ran a modest dairy operation. On the other side was Claude Wickard, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture. He was responsible for enforcing federal farming laws. At the time, the government was trying to stabilize wheat prices during the Great Depression. Too much wheat meant prices would crash. So Congress passed a law limiting how much wheat farmers could grow. Filburn was allowed to plant just over 11 acres. But Filburn planted 23 acres, almost double his limit. He ended up with 239 extra bushels of wheat. Here's the twist: he didn't plan to sell that extra wheat. He used it on his own farm, for animals, food, and seeds. So the big question was simple but powerful. Can the federal government regulate wheat that never enters the market? In other words, does growing food for personal use fall under Congress's power to regulate interstate commerce? The Supreme Court said yes, and their reasoning was groundbreaking. They didn't focus on Filburn alone. Instead, they asked, what if many farmers did the same thing? All those small actions could add up in a big way. By growing his own wheat, Filburn didn't need to buy wheat on the market. That reduced demand, and affected national prices. The court ruled against Filburn. The law was constitutional, and the penalty could be enforced. Here's the key rule: Congress can regulate local, non-commercial activity, if, in the aggregate, it has a substantial effect on interstate commerce. This is called the aggregation principle. Small individual actions can be regulated if the combined impact is significant. This case became the foundation for modern federal power. It supports laws on labor, civil rights, and environmental protection. Without this decision, many federal regulations might not exist. It shows how interconnected our economy really is. Wickard versus Filburn teaches one simple idea: even personal choices can affect the national economy. When enough people act the same way, those small actions become powerful. And that's when the federal government can step in.